Next question here, I'm explaining the multiple constructor. The default constructor having 3 and 9 value, and we have to accept one parameter. As you know, there are two types of constructor. One is default constructor and parameter. The very first thing I'll write here output check. Here say default ratio as per the default constructor. I want over here ratio as per default constructor. The ratio as per default constructor, as I have taken already two values over here, we have to write just that as a ratio 50/9. Now we have to accept one integer from which is say 5, and then we have to display ratio as per parameterized structure, which we can either multiply with this numerator, whatever value user will, that we are going to multiply with this numerator value, that is 3 into 5, which is say 15 plus 3. Either you can multiply or directly you can write 5 divided 3, which is also 5. This is what output I want, ratio as per the default constructor. The value already have displayed same value. Then user will enter an integer for parameterized constructor, and we are going to display that parameter. Now we start with the class ratio. Inside class ratio, curly braces, class ends with curly braces and semicolon. Here, access specifier, we will always keep it as a private. Here we are going to declare variables, that is data. For that, numerator and variables are declared. In public, we have declare functions. Now, constructor we have to declare over here. Multiple constructor are there. Previous program, I told you what is default constructor. What is constructor? Constructor is having same name as your class name. So ratio, open close braces, open close bracket. Then constructor doesn't have any data type. This is called default constructor. Next, we have to declare parameterized constructor. In parameterized constructor doesn't have data type. It is have same name as your class name, but it is parameterized constructor. This program we have single parameters have written integer one argument within constructor. This is called parameterized constructor. And one function here, that is print the ratio. Now, here the very first thing is we have declared three functions, that is the constructor and one by one we are going to define inside the class. Class ends here. Now we are going to first initialize this first they have given initialize default constructor. How to define outside the class. Any function outside the class data starts with data type, so constructor doesn't have data type. So here I write none. Then name of the class, that is ratio, then scope resolution data, and name of the function, that is name of the class name. Within definition, I'll initialize two numbers if n equals to and b equals to. This is how we are going to initialize two numbers. Now, the next function is parameterized constructor. Within parameterized constructor, what I'll do again the same thing. I write name of the, because it doesn't have data type, name of the class, then name of the function, and then one integer value. See here I'll take x. Okay, we have to pass this value within body of the function. So here I write, as I said, numerator have multiplied parameterized value. So here I write n is equals to 3 is the constant value. I'll multiply whichever user will enter value which is passed by x, and denominator is c. This is what parameterized constructor. We are going to pass this value from void main, pass this value from void main. Whichever number user will enter, it will get multiplied within the. Now the last function is void print. So here now again the data type, then name of the class is ratio, resolution, and print. Now within this, what we are going to do? We are going to just display a ratio. Now ratio means I want n divides. N divides is nothing. 3 divide 9, that I am going to display. I want to say 3 divide 9 as a ratio. That I am going to write it down in print function. So the last thing is say void. Here I write the CLR SCR. Now create object every time whenever you will ask this, but when you have name of the function and the object name. Now while creating the object, or you can say declaring the object, one thing is always done is what automatically called default constructor. Okay, automatically called default constructor. You have to remember whichever declare with class, you have to define all the functions, and one by one you have to call the same function. So I'm declaring objects. While declaring object, right, default constructor will get called. That means this n is equals to 3 and d is. After that, what we have to do? See the output. I want output as the cout ratio as per for constructor. And then what I want values for that. So here I'll write r dot array. Now how it will, I'll tell you one by one. First I'll write according to the output. Then next one is you have to ask user to enter one value. So enter and now we are asking the user to enter. So here I'll write C in. See here I write x only, and within bracket you are going to declare the variable. First, within cout, we are accepting value to the parameter x variable, temporary variable, integer x. Now we have x. Then the next thing is you are going to call the parameterized check. Simple function will be what, say ratio dot, sorry, r dot ratio, and each argument we have to pass this. But while calling parameterized constructor, instead of dot you have to write equals to r equals to ratio x, which we pass, and then we could have written ratio as per parameterized constructor. And then alpha order rate and x. Now how this works? Of course, as I said, always C++ program starts this. So teacher x we have declared one variable. So we are declaring object. Whenever we are declaring object, it will search for your class. Whether class is declared or whether class is defined or where from the class. Class is defined. Then next thing is we have to call at the same time we are going to call the default constructor. Check whether default constructor is defined or not. Yes, it is defined. So n is equal to 3, d is equals to 9. It will initialize these key values. Then the next thing we have written r dot rate. So within output we get the first line as a ratio as per the default constructor. And as here we are calling the default constructor, we have already have values, that is n and d. Just you have to print that value. So r dot print here will get 3 divide 9. The next thing is we are asking user to enter an integer. This second line for output. User will enter any value. Okay, that value will get stored in x variable. Now here we are calling the parameterized constructor. So r is equals to ratio of x. So it will search for your ratio of x, that is parameterized constructor, which is this. It will calculate this n is equals to 3 into x. Whatever user have entered, it will multiply by that value, and this value gets stored in object r over here. And then we have written cout ratio as per the default option. Whatever value we have, that is r dot print as n divides b. That's it. File this. Okay. There are file and see the output ratio as per default. It divides 9. Now I want to enter an integer in next line. That will check. Here I will enter 5. The ratio as per the default divides. After this cout, I'll give the next line. So you can write n l. Again I'll run this. This is slash n. Because here I'm writing and then so whatever value, whatever operation, it's n of x. correct. Ratio as per default constructor is 5.